guys, welcome back to another Bums Blitz video. I'm your host, The Bum, and before we get started, I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it already. Just pause the video real quick, click the little red button down below. It really helps me out. In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different because I know it is draft season and you guys are all stressing about what pick you got and who you're going to pick in the first round. I want to give you a couple keys to success in order to draft your own monster team. First order of business, I would like to issue you guys a little bit of a challenge. If we could get this video 20 thumbs up in the next 3 days, then I will make you guys a part 2. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a ton to me. It's probably about quadruple any amount of thumbs up that I've gotten on any video. So if you like what you see in the next couple minutes, please click the little thumbs up down below and get that number up to 20, especially if you want to see a part 2. Alright, so the first thing I want to cover is preparation. I had a coach. He wasn't really my coach, but he was a coach at my college for a long time. He's really famous, really great coach. He said proper preparation prevents poor performance. That was John Scalinos. He's passed away, but he's a great coach. Now, I believe that to be true for a lot of things, especially in fantasy football. The most important thing you could do is study before you get into your drafts. You have to prepare yourself and kind of get an idea of what you want to do already. Even before you get into the draft, you need to know who you like and who you don't like. It doesn't matter where you think you're going to get these people, but you should know who you want to target and who you want to stay away from. So the best way for me to do that is to go out and get a list from a professional probably. A great source is probably like Fantasy Pros. It's a great website that combines all the fantasy experts rankings and puts them into one big one. You could even take people out. It's great, so you should check it out. I'm not promoting that or anything. I'm not getting any money to advertise that. Anyways, so get the list and then rearrange it the way you like it. You know, maybe color code it, say stay away, even if the guy is like ranked at number 10. A good example of that for me would probably be Ezekiel Elliott. He's number 4 or 5 in my rankings, but I have a red mark next to him because I'm staying away from him at that ADP. He deserves to be there, but I just personally don't want to pick him there. So prepare yourself. Do the studying. Get your list straight. And then figure out where your guys belong. And then your sleepers. Figure out who you want to go after at the end of the draft. The kind of guys that you think that could bust out a great season. Figure out who had a bad season last year and that you think could have a bounce back season. This is the time where you do all of that. In the beginning before you start drafting. Okay? So get your list set up. Make it all out. Position by position, and then if you even want to make a full list, do that. You don't have to do everybody, but get a list of maybe the top 50 for wide receivers, the top 30 for running backs, and and then you could go and then you have a visual and you could see it in your head. Even when you're drafting, you know who you're supposed to pick up, especially if you have a question mark between a guy in a certain round. If he drops, or if it looks like someone's going to go after the guy you want, you could say, well, I have him as the 10th best wide receiver in the league. I think I could go get him and get that price, and that, it works for you. It's all your opinion at the end of the day. You could use experts or gurus, their opinion like mine. You could use that, but don't make it the final decision. You have to ultimately put all the things that you have learned in the past couple of weeks together and then come up with your own ranking system. It's the most important thing. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you have all the information you need. You have your lists, you have your ideas, you have your opinions on all the different players. It's time to put it into practice. Practice is key. Practice is one of the most important things you could do with any kind of skill, and drafting is a skill. So you want to go and mock draft. Mock draft is so important. You have to do a ton of mock drafts. You could pick any spot that you want to pick players from. If you're going to pick in the number 1 spot, the number 10 spot, sometimes you don't know where you're going to pick in a draft. So then you have to do a lot more mocks in order to be comfortable in every different situation. And it's not always going right off your list, picking the best player possible. A lot of people like to say that. I don't necessarily believe in picking the best player possible. Obviously, you want to pick a great player, but you also want to learn how to structure a team. And sometimes you could pick all the best players available, but then you end up with the weakest tight end, the weakest running back, but you have, 3 or 4 wide receivers on your bench, and 2 or 3 great wide receivers in your starting lineup. That doesn't do you a lot of good. Maybe if you could trade them, but your team as a whole is not as strong. So you have to go into these mock drafts and kind of challenge yourself. Even if you don't want to pick a certain player at a certain time, try it because it doesn't hurt you at all. I did this with the number 2 pick. Obviously, Julio or Odell Beckham Jr. is the number 2 pick. I went with a draft where I took David Johnson. And I really liked how my team turned out going running back first. And I'm sort of leaning towards a running back first mentality or running back heavy early in the draft mentality. Obviously, Antonio Brown is someone I want to go after. But after that, it's up in the air for me. So I tried these things and just tested things out and saw how the teams came out towards the end. And so I practiced it enough and I got a strategy that I know will fit every draft that I do. And since I do a ton of drafts, I'm comfortable in any spot that they put me. And it's important to be comfortable because when you get out of your comfort zone, you start making really bad picks and starting to reach. So practice. Do it all over again. Try things. Go wide receiver, see how that feels for you, see what kind of team you get. Just keep doing it until you are totally comfortable with any spot that they put you in. Last thing that I want to cover with you guys in this video, it is stick to the plan. You did all the preparation, you did all the practicing, you come up with the plan that you want to go with during your draft. It's hard to stay with a plan, especially when you're playing in leagues that sometimes are a little weaker, where you have players doing things that maybe they shouldn't be doing, and then all of a sudden someone lands in your lap. This sometimes could lead you into an area that you haven't been in before, and you might get lost, especially if you have a player and maybe you've already picked 3 really good wide receivers or 2 really good wide receivers and you really don't need another one, but then this great wide receiver, Macklin or somebody else lands in your lap and you're like, I have to pick him. Well, now you're throwing off the whole balance of your team possibly, especially if you wait another round and you were going to pick running back. You wait one more round, especially in those mid rounds, who are you going to get? You were about to pick Arian Foster or Jeremy Hill, someone like that. Now you're left with who? Ryan Matthews? That's not good, especially for me. I would hate that. That would be very, very bad. So stick to the plan. Now, I do have a little bit of an example of how I kind of got off track and should have listened to my own advice. I'm going to put up 2 teams here. They're somewhere on the screen, and one of them's a good draft. You can see I picked Bell in the 2nd round. Now, because I want to help people and I was recording it, I picked another player, Allen Robinson, in the 2nd round in the other draft. And you can see the complete difference in the 2 teams. The one with Bell is crazy good. The one with Allen Robinson it's okay. It's not great, but I salvaged it a little. It's not great. Let's just be really, really real about that. So stick to the plan. I had a plan. I liked going AP than Bell. I should have stuck to it. It would have been a better team. So don't let things like that get in your way. Obviously, if there is a player you have to take because he dropped to you, do it. But just be aware that you are losing something at that point. So rethink your plan, adjust, and be ready for the next pick. That's it for this video. Remember, if we get 20 thumbs up in the next 3 days, I will make a part 2. So if you like this, thumbs up. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe. Click the little red button down below. If you have any fantasy advice that you need, remember, you can always get a hold of me at BumsBlitz on Twitter, BumsBlitz on Facebook, and BumsBlitz.com. I keep it real simple for you. Anyways, until next time, I will see you later.